Okay, so it's day 158 of Nofap, and driving to work yet again. Never taking any days off, and I think about a week's worth of PTO. I just haven't taken any days off. Really having a fall like it. So yesterday, even though I went into work, and I hadn't gotten that in-class activity done. I actually got it done at work. I think it was actually during class I did that. While the professor was lecturing and people were asking questions, I just worked on that, and so I was able to get that done. But again, last night I just it's one of those other nights where I was just I'm gonna get some rest, and didn't have anything to do, so I went to sleep. I think I got the 7 to 8 hours of sleep, ironically or interestingly enough, because when I decided to go to sleep, and the fact that I didn't have anything really keeping me up. So, but we'll see when we get to work today. I mean, I slept until 6, and actually, I didn't actually set any alarms. I actually woke up I woke up at exactly 5:30, but then I decided to add an extra half an hour, then another 15 minutes after that, so about 45 minutes more of rest. Yeah, so we'll see what time I get to work at. But I'm gonna try not to speed, obviously. I really don't mean taking any more of those chances with getting tickets or whatever. But anywho, like I said, it's day 158. A couple more days will be 160. What is really on my mind right now? I think one of the things that's on my mind right now is the girl, obviously. I think I may have killed any attraction she may have had for me. I think I just I talked too much. I slipped into some sort of self-deprecating humor where I was bringing up stuff that I thought was kind of funny from my childhood or adolescence, the story of how my dad bought a Chucky doll and how I broke its face because I was so scared of it. But in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I mean, I think even she herself was, that's weird or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. It's almost like it wouldn't matter either way, because she's a coworker, and she's got her background she comes from, and the numbers being what they are, they're already stacked against me just because of the nature of things that these days. And it's almost interestingly enough, later. Well, not late. I don't think it was later in the day. It was actually. So I finished listening to some podcasts while I was at work. I just kind of put those on and listened to those while I worked. But later on in the day, I ended up listening to. Okay, there's a Fresh and Fit, I think that's the name of the podcast, and I'd already finished up listening to one of their podcasts where they had Rolo on. And then they also had Aaron Clary on, but this one was with Joker of Better Bachelor, and yeah, it was sort of I got again more of that picture of how it's kind of in pursuing anything with women, it's sort of you have to you have to look at the way things really are, and you have to accept the fact that the numbers are kind of stacked against you, to put it lightly. Especially where I'm living, it's sort of like you're talking about, and especially if the woman is genuinely attractive, like this girl, like she's genuinely, I would put her in the hot category, like, yeah. But talk about in America, especially in an area like where I live, and then you throw in the fact that she's extremely attractive, like, yeah, you're most likely not gonna win. And it's sort of like, okay, should you try? If you're gonna try, like, I mean, how many times are you gonna have to get shot down before you actually get one of those girls? And it's this whole deal with, like, I guess it's sort of the question of, like, why the girls I like don't like me, and what is it, like, what else, like, I guess it's almost like, if you work with a girl, you work with someone, or you're in class with them, or whatever, and you sort of build up this rapport with them that it creates a sort of emotional connection. It kind of gives the rejection way more weight to it, and it's almost like I'll only ask out the girls that I have some sort of rapport with. I feel like I got some sort of connection with, and of course they're ironically the ones who have, in many ways, by the time I ask them out, they've already decided, like, nah, I don't like this guy, or I don't like this guy like that, or he's not whatever enough. I'm sure, I'm sure that's kind of like what's gone through her mind, but either that or she has some pre-existing sort of set of, like qualifiers, and I'm sure, there are things I could do. Like, I could probably lose a lot of weight in a relatively short period of time. I've done that before, and I'm sure I'd probably get some sort of, response to that, but it's still kind of like, I don't know. The expression "the juice isn't worth the squeeze" kind of, crosses my mind. But then sort of like thinking, like, okay, what exactly would I get in return for that? And is it going to change anything? And I mean, other than that one specific point in the conversation, I know, like, there were no times along there where I was, joking with her. She was laughing, and we were talking about stuff, and talking about, like, career, future, that sort of thing, like where each of us wanted to go and what each of us were doing, and she seemed kind of interested, and then there was like there were some other points in there, but it's sort of like the irony that that good enough or okay nowadays is just like, it's almost like not getting any attention from the women, because it's sort of like they're not viewing you in that sort of category or treating you as such. It's like, okay, well, at least I won't get fired. At least you won't report me to HR. At least Kind of sucks that that's the way it is. But I don't know. I don't think she's ever really honestly had any sort of romantic interest in the other guy, but I could be wrong. I know we did get to talking about like stock options and that sort of thing, because they had some sort of presentation about that, but I wasn't able to go to it. Besides, like, even if I had someone I wanted to like go to that or call into it on Zoom, like, my phone didn't have power and I had left my charger at home. And we did kind of talk about that, and I don't know, maybe I was leading with beta bug stuff, but I don't know. It almost seems like asking those kinds of questions doesn't really matter. It's kind of like when you say, oh, she's sending mixed signals to me. It's like, well, there's your answer, if she was into you, she wouldn't be sending you mixed signals or, whatever. So, like, I oftentimes wonder, like, how much all this red pill stuff really counts, because even, like, on Fresh and Fit and, other podcasts, but, definitely, like, the most recent, sort of expression of this that I've heard is that, like, so it's like, it used to be 80%, now it's more like 90% of guys, even if they know this sort of stuff, they're just not going to be able to utilize it, like, if you want to talk about height as an issue, I know it's getting kind of black-pilled or doomer or whatever, but it's like if height was the metric, now a lot of guys, they know all this game stuff, they're not going to be able to make anything of it because they're just not tall enough, or if it's, race, or it's hair color, or, eye color, or it's whatever it may exactly be that sets you in that category where the girls you just happen to like don't like you. It's almost like, okay, yeah, you might know all this red pill stuff, or, have this understanding of things, but it's sort of like, it doesn't really matter. It's like, it doesn't matter if you led with beta buck stuff, or you said one too many weird things, or whatever, if she just wasn't into you to begin with, And I think that's kind of like one of the big sort of points or ideas to consider, like, when you have guys who, you think, man, this guy must be getting, action all the time, look at him, or see, see what his status is in, society, or his, like, the money he makes or whatever. It's like, but it's sort of like, yeah, that kind of stuff might get the girl that you want to get, but it won't get the girl that he wants to get, And so it's, it kind of becomes this sort of, like I said, like, why do the girls I like don't like me? Why can't I just like the girls that like me? Why can't I be into that? Because, like, there have been girls who have been into me, but I just wasn't feeling it for them, at the time at least. And it kind of sucks in retrospect, because it seems like, that would have been like sort of the meeting of two people who would be, in that case, attracted to each other. And, I probably wouldn't be as doom or as black-pilled, so to speak. Which I'm not saying that I am. I definitely have those moments, but yeah. Like, I kind of wish I didn't find this girl attractive, because it would make a lot of things that work, like, a lot smoother and easier to go with, to go with or to go by. And wouldn't be feeling like this. And what else? I think ironically enough, like, if I wasn't attracted to her, she'd probably be attracted to me. Because it'd be like this whole sort of, this guy doesn't put me on a pedestal. He's not, always, like, kissing up to me or giving me free attention or trying to make me laugh. He's all, like, someplace else. Oh, I gotta get his attention, and then she'd probably be way more attracted to me, which, it'd be kind of, like, ironic, That's sort of, that's the ironic and sort of annoying thing about a lot of this, is sort of like when, I remember saying this to, a friend I had, like, years ago. It was always like when I'm not looking, they're looking. When I'm looking, they're not looking, sort of a thing. And it's sort of like, it's that sort of state of being, or like I said, the girls I like, they don't like me. The girls I don't like, they like me. And, I for some reason I just can't I can't reduce it down to just lust. Because if it was just about being horny, yeah, you take any girl pretty much, and if you're just if you just wanted to, get after it, you'd be like, okay, though this girl's into me, she wants to do it, okay, let's go knock it out, and then you just go knock it out, and that would be that. But if you're not of that mindset, maybe, I don't know, God forbid you have romantic leanings, which I guess people refer to as blue pill leanings, I don't know. But, if you have any of that sort of stuff, or you want any of that, or, you're living life from the perspective of someone who wants to, get married, be the husband and the father, and have your own kids with, actually your kids, not being the stepfather who, raised somebody else's, children, but actually having your own kids, your own progeny, your own bloodline continuing, and raising those kids with your wife. It's like living in a world where everything is stacked against you being able to do that. I think it was Fresh or Bruce Fit who said it. I think, okay, Myron Gaines. I know that name but I don't remember if he's Fresh or if he's Fit. I mean, in terms of his what do you call his handle, so to speak. But he said, it's a great environment for guys who just want to get laid, but it's a terrible environment for guys who want to start a family. And that's how you put it. Or yeah, something like that. You put it in that sort of sense, or I don't know if those are the exact words off the top of my head, but something along those lines. And a lot of it isn't us guys, when it comes to relationships, it's you got two people in the relationship, at least, two people. And I say at least because, in past days, in olden days, there was the whole extended family and how their influences would, shape things. So, I'm not talking about polyamory or anything like that. But, in a relationship you got two people, and it's okay, if one of those two people is not, doing their part, so to speak, to make sure the relationship either forms or is successful or is functional or healthy, then it kind of doesn't matter what the other person does. The other person tries and tries and tries. With my ex-girlfriend, I was always being told that it was my job to help her with her emotions, or my job to be understanding, or I needed to be more tolerant or more patient or whatever. And it was so much the reason why the relationship failed eventually was I just got to a point where, even as patient as understanding as I had been or tried to be, I was just this is not gonna work. You don't want to do your half of the deal, or you don't want to fulfill your half of the deal, or the relationship. And every time you have some sort of emotional freak out, it's somehow my fault. My responsibility. I have to help you. When you're at the age that you're at, and you can't act like a grown adult and own up to things. And that's, the same thing with a lot of sort of stuff. If the girls aren't wanting to live in a manner that they would end up a married woman with a great husband and a family, kids and all that by the time they're in their late 20s, early 30s, or they just don't like you as a guy like that, they might think of you as an okay coworker, or a guy friend or whatever. if they ain't seeing you as romantic prospects, then like it kind of doesn't matter what you do. Which doesn't mean you shouldn't like do certain things that are good for you. Like, for instance, I've gone on and on about like, you know, I gotta take care of my health. Well, I gotta take care of my health not because some girl is gonna jump my bones or want to date me or something, which would be nice, you know, especially with like this girl in particular. But because like, look, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to have all sorts of pain and sorts of, you know, freakish events happen to me that I could have prevented if I just, you know, gotten on and stuck to a diet, you know, finagled the logistics of reserving, you know, a spot at the pool so I could go swimming, whatever, you know. It's the same thing with the whole debt situation. Like, once I pay off all this debt, I mean, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I don't go back into debt. And, you know, it's not because, the girl's this, the girl's that. You know, that would be like really beta bucks-ish. But it's because, like, I know how it's going to affect me. You know, like, it's kind of like, you know, the reason, like, my money and my finances mean so much to me right now is because, like, I'm the one going into work, going in to put in these hours, having to drive, you know, at this hour of the day, you know, early in the morning, and, you know, I've got to go through that and exert myself, and, you know, if I'm super late, you know, to work, then it's kind of like I've got to deal with the consequences of that, and, you know, as such, it's like, why would I go and put myself in a situation where I'm going to be expected to be throwing away all this money and time, especially if it's like me being expected to pay off somebody else's debt. Like, so many of the women I would be interested in, like, it's annoying and frustrating, kind of depressing that you have to go, okay, like, you know, I have to sort of filter them out because of how much debt they have from student loans for useless degrees. Like in the past, I wouldn't have thought about this, and I probably would have ended up screwing up my life even further. But it's almost like I had to ask, okay, like what did you get your degree in, you know, and how much debt do you have? You know, it's like on the first date, you had to be like, okay, like, you know, what's your background like, you know, in terms of that, which is why it kind of burned me even more to like not be able to find a girlfriend at that engineering program, because I mean, I wouldn't have had to ask that sort of a question, you know, when I had to ask the question of like, so what did you get your degree in, or how much debt do you have, or whatever the heck, you know. But they weren't interested, and some of it's on me, you know, but, you know, they weren't interested, and I think, like I said, I think I've messed things up with this girl, which, you know, I don't think it's to the extent, obviously it's not to the extent of, like, me getting in trouble or something, but definitely no romancing, which is, you know, gotta accept it. It is what it is, and at the very least, as long as I can keep my job and advance my career and that sort of deal, then I'll be okay. That's okay. You know, as long as I can do that, take care of my health, that sort of a deal, I'll be okay. So, a couple minutes late. Not as much as, I think it was yesterday. It was like day before yesterday. I think I was like 10 minutes late or so, but haven't ended up all that late here, for the most part, just because I got into this whole routine. But I think the only time I was really late was when I had to like drive back to my place and like look for my badge, but that was like a one-off thing. Well, think I got my badge in my bag. I just tried to put it, so I'm hoping that day's not another one of those. But anywho, so yeah, 158 days of Nofap. All the problems haven't been solved, and that's just kind of part of life. But I definitely say I got a lot more mental clarity and mental emotional balance, and I'm able to get myself to get things done, and I have to somehow like find ways to be working on these like assignments and such like at work, because that's usually when I'm actually the most awake and I'm not like exhausted or worn out. And problem is that when I go home, I got my bed right next to my desk, and it kind of becomes sort of a motivational issue of like, oh man, that bed looks really comfy. I think I want to go take a nap, even though I know rationally I got stuff to do. So if I can get that stuff done at work in my free time in between assignments or whatever, then that's the way I'll have to go about it. But anywho, day 158, Nofap. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks around. Bye-bye.